So with all the WWE storylines right now, have they dropped the ball with some of their characters? I got a list of a bunch of superstars that I feel like they're not paying attention to. The storylines are mid, but let me know in the comments, what do you guys think? The first one is Shinsuke Nakamura. Have they really dropped the ball with Shinsuke? He dropped the US title to LA Knight the other day. I've heard rumblings online that like Shinsuke's contract is coming up and WWE is not going to renew it. It seems very odd. Like they never got back to where they were in NXT with Shinsuke, where he was the most over character, over superstar in NXT during that time period, like when he came out. They never got to the main roster. Vince destroyed him. Like, and then Triple H is just, they tried to bring him back to give him a little bit of cool mystique, a little bit grittier, darker, and it never has clicked. Like he's always been like, since Triple H, I mean in the current modern version, he's been like the level 2 boss, you know, where you got like The Rock is like final boss and like all of that, the big bad boss. They're playing a video game, he's like level 1, level 2 of like the boss level you got to get through to get to the next level. I just don't feel like he's ever been that compelling. They've tried with the vignettes, they've tried with changing his look and how in his whole presentation, but when he got the US title, I thought, man, that was surprising. I didn't think they would take it off LA Knight and they put on Shinsuke. Then they just didn't do anything. He didn't wrestle. He didn't have promos. He didn't have interactions with anybody. He's just not there. And then the rest of the mid card on SmackDown, I felt was starting to do more, where you had Carmelo, Andrade, LA Knight, Jimmy Uso's in there. Now you could even add in like Damian Priest. You could even add in Drew McIntyre if you wanted to go in that direction for the US. You have so many different people that are working every week around the United States Championship. And Shinsuke's just off in the background doing nothing. He's not intimidating. He's not scary. I just feel like they really dropped the ball with his character and they quickly just took the title off of him before WrestleMania. I'm not sure what they're planning to do here. And then where's LA Knight going to go with that title? So I mentioned Drew McIntyre. Have WWE dropped the ball with Drew? And I'm talking like right now, where we are right now, getting really close to WrestleMania. What's he doing? He doesn't have a match. Now, SmackDown's about to happen. He's probably going to be having this Damian Priest match, which if they do that at Mania, I have no doubt that that will be a good match. I think that they will try to put on the best thing they can, but Drew just came off of this extended period on Raw of Seth Rollins and the world title, and then the entire year-long story with CM Punk and one of the best Hell in a Cell matches I've seen, and his character doing next level work. I've loved everything Drew McIntyre's done. And then he was going to become the Bloodline Hunter. He finished the Hell in a Cell. He took a few weeks off and then he started doing vignettes and he started going around and taking out everyone in the Bloodline. And then that just stopped. They just stopped completely. And they seemed like they didn't want to do that. And then they were going to go into this Damian Priest direction. And everyone was just kind of like, meh. So I worry that they are dropping the ball with Drew because there's so much more they could do with him. And again, this Damian Priest thing doesn't feel like it's it. I think that they should pivot it into a LA Knight US title thing and make it a multi-man match, even if you want to do that at Mania, and give Drew the title. You can make it part of the John Cena heel faction if you wanted to. Drew, I feel like, should be doing more, and it might be one of those things we wait till after Mania to see how it all plays out. But he should be like right there at the top. Now, I mentioned Damian Priest. He's another one who's interesting, isn't he? He had an extended run with the whole Judgment Day and then the Terror Twins, and the Terror Twin thing was really good. They just didn't do enough of it. And as soon as that happened, where they were done pushing Damian Priest with Rhea, and they wanted to go in separate directions, Damian Priest didn't go very far, did he? He really started falling down the pecking order. And they put him in the Elimination Chamber, but there's no chance of that turning out to be a contendership match for him, where he's going to go and take on Cody Rhodes. Just moving over to SmackDown and not really having a direction, I think it's really hurt Priest, even when he was on Raw. When he finished up with Judgment Day and Finn and having forever matches and feuds with Finn Balor, it just wasn't doing anything anymore. And I think because the Judgment Day storyline overall it's starting, and has for a long time, started to feel like, okay, we're done with this. Rhea's gone, Judgment Day's broken up, essentially reformed into new versions. It's played out now it's time to do different things with that. And moving Priest to SmackDown is the right move, in my opinion, because fresh matchups. But what's he doing? Feeling like he's just doing this Drew stuff. I don't know what you do with the Damian Priest. I think he's now into the mid-card scene, especially because he's on SmackDown. No one's touching Cody John Cena title. He at least had the world title, and they tried that. And he had good matches with Gunther, but from a storyline perspective, I just wonder, are we ever going to see Damian Priest rise up? I'll rise and see if he's going to get up to that upper echelon level, or is he going to be kind of put right into the mid card? Now, the next one is interesting. I have on my list The New Day. Now, hear me out. The New Day and the segment with Big E and the turn, that was like the segment of the year. That was so heartbreaking and so well executed, and one of the greatest things I've seen, and also the saddest things I've seen for wrestling in that promo. Nothing can touch that. That was heartbreaking for E. And you thought, wow, they are really going to go on a really big heel run. Even as tag team champions, for example, on Raw, they got booed out of the building the first week. They got booed out of the building the second week. I'm like, that's awesome. That's really, they got all of that heel heat off of Big E and doing that moment. And then, not a whole lot. Now, this may be a scenario of Matt, let it play out. Get to WrestleMania. I could see them picking up the World Tag titles. I felt like they should have had them already, and they should really be amping them up more and more. Now the New Day are just, I don't know, they're just doing tag matches. They're heels because they're heels. Like, they're just kind of falling into the regular heel tropes and not using that momentum anymore. A lot of like Rey Mysterio LWO matches. I really think that they should have hit when the iron was hot. You had the Big E stuff, and you have them get really nasty with chair shots, kendo sticks, putting guys through tables, low blows during tag team matches, like cheating to win, like just being really dirtbag heels and winning the tag titles very quickly. Low blows, chair shot, and to War Raiders, and give them those tag titles, and the crowd just dumps on them for a long time, and let them be dominant tag team champions, but the worst kind. And they haven't done that. You get a lot of vignettes, the in-commercial stuff on Netflix, and then the New Day pop up, and like, yeah, they're bad guys, but they're not at the level I think they should have been. And I think that it's hard when the tag divisions in general are not that strong. They're not booked very well, where you have War Raiders, LWO, New Day, Judgment Day, and just rinse and repeat and go on. Like, SmackDown is at least they try a lot with the tag division and doing kind of like number one contenders and tournaments, and they're trying to give it some focus. But Raw has always just seemed to struggle with tag. I think New Day have really struggled after all of the heat kind of died off with the Big E segment. All right, another one on my list here. You might like it, you may not. Charlotte Flair. Just from where I'm sitting, I've seen Charlotte's whole career, and I saw the Royal Rumble. And this whole build with Tiffany Stratton, nah, that didn't work for me, brother. It's flat. Like, let's just call it what it is. I don't like it. I don't think it's anything that people want. Like, the women's side on Raw right now, Io, Bianca, Rhea in a triple threat, seemingly going for a triple threat match. That's so exciting. That segment on Raw was awesome. The Naomi Bianca segment was awesome. And that was on SmackDown. Then you got Charlotte, who's just never there, and she's just talking over Tiffany Stratton. Like, they might just put the title on Charlotte at WrestleMania. It doesn't have any momentum. It feels so flat. Charlotte won at the Rumble, which felt flat. It felt too obvious. I don't think it was the right move to make. You could have even done that match at WrestleMania without her winning the Rumble and gave the Rumble to Io or Bianca or something. Like, you could have done something different. I think that they tried to give the heel Charlotte Flair moment in the Rumble, and there's nothing there. Like, they're not wrestling. Charlotte's not wrestling. I'm like, okay, we're gonna get whatever it is, 4 more weeks of just Charlotte walks in and sits on a chair and says it's Tiffy time, and then that's it. And Tiffy's got to overcome obstacles, and they might do it where Tiffany Stratton beats Charlotte to get that big moment of putting her over as the top babyface on SmackDown. Maybe that is the ultimate goal here, and that's what they're using Charlotte for, but the storyline just really isn't anything. I think they dropped the ball where they could have made Charlotte an even bigger menacing heel in a different way and change up her look, dye her hair dark, make her go hit her with chairs, be more violent, more aggressive, have matches. She should have interfered at Elimination Chamber, in my opinion. That tag team match was fun, but no consequence. Charlotte should have ran in there and destroyed Trish Stratus and destroyed Tiffany Stratton and stood tall. But it really feels like one of the weaker programs. And this is the Royal Rumble winner. Technically, on one of the nights, shouldn't Charlotte be in the main event? But that really doesn't seem to be happening. Okay, another one I got on my list is Carmelo Hayes. Now, I like Carmelo, and he's doing this Miz stuff. Now, this is starting to work. I felt like they had dropped the ball. Like, they've kind of gone in waves with Carmelo. Came over SmackDown, #1 draft pick, match with Cody, then nothing. And nothing with Carmelo. Then he started getting into the series of matches with Andrade. Really liked it. A lot of fun, high energy, great chemistry between those guys. fun to watch every single week. It reminded me of Andrade and Rey Mysterio when they would just have like match after match on SmackDown. Felt like they were doing the same thing. Then it got muddied. Then they got into the US title. They got with LA Knight. And then it all just kind of dissipated. It went off into different directions and no one came back to it. And then now you have Carmelo doing nothing. And then he finally got hooked up with The Miz. And they're trying to do the comedic stuff there, which ultimately will end in a turn and Carmelo versus Miz will fight. So it feels very short term. Those guys might become a tag team and it could be just, you know, a case of opposite personalities and it works really well. But I think you want Carmelo Hayes as a single star. Just, it's not working. I think that they just done so much start-stop with him as a character since he came to SmackDown that it hasn't worked. Like, I thought he should get the matches with Andrade, then get to the US title one-on-one, win the US title. Even for a month or 3 months, they flipped the US title around a lot. You could have given him something to see what he could do, but now he's gonna do the comedy stuff, and it's funny, but it's not gonna be forever. So kind of lukewarm on Carmelo right now. Now, I put Gunther next on this list. It's like they dropped the ball with Gunther. It's hard to say because you're like, well, he's the world champion. So clearly they didn't drop the ball with him. He's on PLEs and he's defending the title and he's got the match with Jay at WrestleMania. According to a lot of people on the internet, they're not thrilled about this Jay Gunther feud and they're over the Yeet stuff. Well, the live crowd isn't. They love it. WWE loves it. Top merch seller. That's all the Jey Uso stuff. But Gunther, yeah, Gunther's world title reign is not like his Intercontinental title reign. They did the long IC title reign and it worked. Then he got to the world title and it really hasn't clicked that well. Feuds with Damian Priest, the never-ending feud with Jey Uso, Sami Zayn mixing it up. They've tried it over and over again, and I feel like they've done different things with Gunther's character too, where they made him insecure with Damian Priest. And he overcame the odds, and now he's normal Gunther again. And I feel like he's kind of at his best when he's got like Imperium, and he's got a lot of guys behind him. He's great, like he's a great wrestler. Gunther matches are amazing. But I feel like Gunther is also as a character is written in a very difficult position where you make him so dominant, well then he loses. You can't have him lose very often, right? He's always undefeated until he's not. It's probably really hard to write a dominant heel champion that never loses, so he has no weaknesses. And then what do you do with him once he finally does lose? Does he perpetually lose? Like, what other stories can you do with him? So I think that Gunther needs a change of scenery eventually. The Jay feud, what they're doing with Jay and Gunther right now, where I feel like they dropped the ball too, is that it's not very interesting. It seems to be going on for a very long time, and we're trying to get to WrestleMania and get this match done so Jay can get the title and try something new. And Gunther can maybe go away. That's what happened when he lost the IC title. He went away, came back, won King of the Ring, then won the world title. Okay, Matt from the future. I'm editing this video and then didn't record my audio and stuff. So the last name on the list is the Wyatts. The Wyatt 6. I just feel like they haven't done anything with them really substantial since they debuted. That whole backstage thing when, you know, Chad Gable got taken out and look like he got shot and there's blood everywhere, and they had a kind of a pretty cool dynamic and feud going on with Chad and like trying to change him, and then the element of Bo Dallas and like the Jekyll and Hyde aspect and his personality coming to life. Like the moment when he sat in the Adam Pearce's office, like, and then everyone went, ooh, like what's gonna happen? Nothing happened, nothing. And then they get drafted to SmackDown, which doesn't make any sense because the Wyatts are supposed to be chaos infused in all of this. Why would they just sign contracts to say they'll go to another brand and they haven't done anything? And now I know someone's gonna say, Matt, they're gonna have Alexa Bliss show up. They're doing teases for it. I understand that, but man, is it ever just moving at just a glacier pace. And before all that, like nothing else has been going on. I know that you might want to use them sparingly of like, let's introduce them when we have a cool storyline to do. It just feels like anything Wyatt related, even with Bray, it was a lot of, here's our biggest, best idea, let's run with it right now, and then what are we gonna do after in the follow through? I think they have a hard time trying to write for this type of character, the supernatural stuff. It ain't Undertaker. You need Bo in there just doing matches, and I think it's an element that's very difficult to get right. And I do feel like they dropped the ball. You had a Chad Gable feud that kind of just whatever, and then it rolled off from there. They need to do something of substance. And even if they get Alexa Bliss in there, I'm sure they'll have a big moment planned, maybe at WrestleMania. But then what? It's always gonna be the follow through with them. And I think that's where they've really drawn the ball with what could be something really cool. But who is WWE Dropped the Ball for you? As I re-record all this ending and everything, guys, if you want to subscribe to the channel, hit a like. It really means a lot. It helps us grow a ton. Click this video right here if you want to talk more about Jey Uso, the world title, topics like that. Have a great day. See ya.